Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you what I like to do in terms of mixed media with my acrylic skins that I get from doing so much acrylic pouring. So I have this box here completely full of acrylic skins that I've collected throughout acrylic pouring ever since I started it about this time last year. More professionally, should we say. I have done acrylic pouring throughout the last 2 years and only really, I want to say taken it seriously, but like really started to do it every single day until like the point last year. When you do a lot of acrylic pouring, you will get acrylic skins, which are these. They're like pour-offs from doing acrylic pouring that come off the canvas or MDF board, and you get these really nice collective samples of acrylic skins. You can use acrylic skins throughout different ways. You can use it to make jewellery, you can use it to make paintings, you can do it in any kind of way you want, but for me I feel like those kind of options weren't for me, since I was already doing these circle ink pours with a collection of acrylic skins in like very, very small ones. They're probably about this big. I don't actually have any to show you at the moment, but they were the way forward for me, just because I didn't have to go out and buy more materials to be able to make, like, say, the jewellery, when I myself was pretty much skin. I'm always skin anyway, and I already had loads of paper, and it's very, very simple to use. If you got the materials already, why would you go out and buy some more art materials just to be able to get rid of more? In my head it just makes sense. So that's just me. But anyway, moving on. With my mixed media, how I start them is pretty simple. I'll show you a couple. These are the two that I've currently been working on for combining ink. I've got this kind of silver tinfoil in the circle. You can never do too much within improving your composition skill. Composition is how it looks. So say I want to put on, I'll just say I want to put this bit on, and I'm like, well, does it improve the look of it? Look is basically like composition. I'm like, actually makes it a bit too like constricted and a bit too much, and I take that away and go, okay, that looks a lot better because it's a lot more freer towards this area and my eye can go all the way around it. Reason why I kind of do it, because it helps improve my composition skill. And obviously if you don't have much art materials, and I've got a box full of acrylic skins, loads of ink and paper, that's all you really need to make them. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and start making a ink pour, which is the first stage. So I've got my little pot here that I use for my acrylic pouring anyway. Just going to swap it because this one's a bit wet still. I'm just going to turn it upside down. Normally on an A4 piece of paper, which is this, you could get 2 full circles out of the paper. I like to draw a pencil circle, just because if you draw it in pen then you kind of can't get rid of it, and obviously there's that choice at the very end if you want to rub out the line or not. I tend to keep the line just because it adds this bit more mixed media effect to it. Okay, there's your 2 circles. Next part is to get some water and your choice of ink. Today I'm going to be using blue ink. I have used white, I've used black and purple, but today I'm feeling very blue. So I just want to get a bigger brush, put some water down. You can fill a circle, you can go outside the circle, you can do what the hell you want to do. I just kind of brush along, dipping my ink in, dropping it on. You can do whatever you want. Because the nature of the ink, it creates its own type of shades, because it's like muted by the water, but also we've only got a few minutes to actually put some designs in. So there's that one. Going over to next one. I would suggest starting off, if you want to do this similar idea, with blue, because blue's a very complementary colour and it kind of goes with a lot of things, where black, black and purple are a lot more, not I don't want to say extreme, but much more harder to balance out in terms of composition, but again, it's totally up to you. You might add in a bit of pink because the water's just kind of gone into a massive circle. So just add in a bit of context. Okay, so very wacky design compared to the simple blue one, but that's just me. What you normally do is wait for this to dry. It normally takes about 10 minutes up to an hour depending on how much water is on the actual paper. But because I want to do this in one go, I'm just going to take this off, move it to the side. Two here that I did earlier. Such a Bloom Peter moment, isn't it? That we're going to work on. So I'm thinking this really white piece here is really nice because this was originally in a pot, and you can tell where I've previously used different colours as a dirty pour or as a flip cup, and then obviously I used it as a white after it dried, and it's just kind of all stuck together. And I also have this really nice pit here. Obviously you don't have to use the whole lot, but I feel like that. And I've also got my trusty bit of tin foil that I'm currently ripping up and using because I've recently bought a container to make my acrylic pouring easier, so I don't have to keep putting a wood board down and then sheets and sheets of non-stick baking stuff. This just gives it a bit of reflection within the composition, and it can really make a difference and really complete a composition together. I like that, that's quite nice. But that line there is quite, I don't want to say annoying, but like out there. But that now, because it's a much more jaggery edge, that looks really nice. You've got the blue that complements it, and also the white surface area. Kind of reminds me of a lady, that acrylic skin. For me, I don't think that will work actually anymore comparing it to that. I think it's just a bit too dark. Some great texture, like look at this one, really nice texture and hole. But again, it's got to go with the lines. And that's what's so great about ink pouring. You can probably just leave it like this and not do anything more to it. But for me, I want to incorporate all these different materials because it makes something completely different. And every single time you do an ink pour, same as an acrylic pour, it's a completely different composition. You can't remake it. That's the only one you will ever get. Look at this piece, that's a really nice textured. But it's just a bit too blocky. You kind of want a skin that is going to highlight and make the composition better, but also show off bits of its features. That's a nice piece here. I don't think that would be right. So that's just the basics of how I make my mixed media pieces. So with this side, I can actually stick this down now with my PVA bond glue. You can use any type of glue, but I just use this because I bought it originally to do a first impressions of like acrylic pouring, and I did, but it turned out to be really rubbish as a pouring medium, and I couldn't make anything out of it, so I'm using it now for all this. For that to properly stick down to the paper, I would go over and do the little bits that are poking out. It's just to make sure it's actually glued down first, and then I can move that bits of paper around without having to worry about gluing down the whole thing. So yeah, there we have it. That's just one way I create mixed media pieces with kind of the supplies I've got hanging around, such as my acrylic skins, tinfoil, inks and paper and a bit of pencil. It's really simple, very easy to do, and it's also great fun. You also keep yourself going, because the most important thing about art is if you don't constantly like do it, as in terms of if you do it a couple of days a week, that's fine, but if you go a couple months without it, sometimes it's good for a visual rest, but if you don't do it constantly, you will not lose the skill, but it will definitely stay at a point and not improve. Even with this, you are using your creative eye for composition wise to improve composition and also to improve colour engagement as well. So once that has actually been glued down, you can go ahead and start framing it, which is what I've done here with one of these. Very similar colour tones. Blue and white is very simple and very easy to manage. And also you can tell this is from the same cup. So I framed this one, but I'll show you a completely different colour composition. You've got this one. This is where I've used a green ink. Still got that bit of tinfoil and a bit of a blue setting, which ironically a lot of blue will be placed in a lot of my acrylic pours. I think it's just because it's such a very good colour to start off with. This is one with a purpley background with, again, the same kind of white from the same pot with tinfoil on the back. Very nice and balanced. Goes down a little bit more to make it thin and elongated rather fat and podgy, which can happen if you put too much at the top, but that's why I let it go over the circle and drag down. So yeah, that is everything. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye!